Hi everyone, welcome back to the Career Growth Podcast. I am your host Angel.
And I'm your host, Kahless, and we want to wish you a very happy new year, 2024. 2024. How are your holidays, Angel?
I had a very interesting holiday because I think recently, I'm not sure
Yes.
if it's just the UK, but most of my friends got a flu last year and I had it for more than 2 months, which was very interesting. But the good thing is I did spend a holiday recovering from that flu, and now I feel a lot more refreshed, energized, and ready for the year, hopefully, because I still need to do my vision board. What about you, Kayla's?
Oh, man. Unfortunately, I have to say the same thing. I was also down sick, but I'm back with renewed energy, and that's what
It
matters.
is.
Ready to take on the new year. Had a lot of breaks in between where I was just sort of like, I need to read. So I did. So I just sat down, I would read, and then I go back to like coughing and sleeping in bed. Then I wake up and I read. That was pretty great for me. And yeah, that was probably the pinnacle of it all.
I did
The amount of
a
reading I got
I did
done.
the same thing, but instead of reading, I was
Yeah.
watching TV shows.
Anything interesting?
Um, what did I catch up on? I was watching some Korean drama. I was trying to watch some movies that I didn't watch last year. A
Yeah.
bunch of stuff I really can't remember. That's and I didn't watch any holiday, like a holiday movies or anything like that. Maybe I
Yeah.
probably should, but I just try to like watch whatever that comes to my mind and whatever it's on my recommendations.
Yeah.
Just be chilled and everything. Um, but yeah, so this week we have a very important topic that we want to discuss with you and we want to share with you, which is the top five CV mistakes you don't want to make in 2024. And these are the five mistakes that we have analyzed in the past week, thinking that we wish someone could have told us to not make this mistake when we first starting applying for jobs. And it's almost like a way to remind ourselves that we made that mistake and now sitting on the other side of the table, understanding why they shouldn't be done. Like I know I keep saying the same way, the same words, but we hope these five mistakes can help you review your CV before you apply for jobs because January, February, March is kind of like a hiring season in the UK. And if you are looking to restart your job hunting journey after a Christmas break, you probably want to do that revision of your CV before you send them out to the employers.
Absolutely. And I think we should talk a little bit about why exactly you need a CV and what the purpose of it is. Because a lot of people can just be like, okay, you know what, I've got this CV together, I've just put all these details in. But if you don't understand the purpose of a CV, you might be missing the mark just a bit
Mm,
because the whole thing is it serves as sort of a metric to identify who is the ideal candidate that fits this role, whether they have the right skills, whether they have even like you can even tell a person's attitude and personality based off of their
mm,
CV. Not accurately, not like 100%, but there's enough in there to reflect who that person
mm,
is, so you can pick out your ideal candidate. And that's kind of the main purpose of a
mm.
CV. What do you say, Joe?
Yeah, CV is a first touch point between you and the employer, right? And throughout the last year itself, we've probably as a team reviewed like over 100,000, 200,000 CVs. And some of the, like the team does make discussions together to say, what are the things that they think shouldn't be on the CV and what are the things that they really like on the CV. So the following five mistakes that we're going to share with you would be based off the three kind of like metrics to identify why they are the mistakes that you shouldn't make. The first thing is a CV should display your skills and experience on one page. If they don't display your skills, if it's not on one page, they might not cross, the recruiter might not think that is, a good CV.
Yeah.
The second metrics is to give evidence as to why you are a good fit for the position. If you don't give evidence, if you don't show that you are a good fit for that particular position. If you are sending out general CVs to general positions, then you know it's, maybe something wrong there. And the last thing we want to mention is, as a metrics, your CV is a ticket to an interview invitation. You want to make sure the employer saw your CV and think that, you know what, this person hand in the right ticket, and we would like to take that ticket, and we would like to invite you to an interview. So here are the three things we kind of evaluate based on. That's what the employers will evaluate your CV based on.
Exactly. And of course, everyone has their own approach, and there's no one size fits all with CVs, but there are guidelines that help you, get discovered to stand out and not get rejected by, automatic tracking systems. And that's kind of what we're going to discuss. I think one of the most common things that I've noticed personally, Angel, is that only because I've done this myself, is that people tend to get really creative with their
Mm,
CVs because they hope that that creativity might actually help them stand
mm.
out. But it's entirely possible that it's actually negating all your
Yeah.
efforts.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
Mistake number one, everyone, is to have a
yeah,
overly creative CV. What does that mean? I come from a marketing and a fashion management background, and our university, like professors and our career office, they did say, because you are in a sort of like a creative industry, you want to make your CV stand out because you are applying for a creative job. And what that means is you can add some colors to your CV, but please don't put flowers, or please don't make the entire page black, or please don't separate the text into, boxes that is harder for the hiring manager to find the information, or to, use really hard to read text on your CV. Those could be considered as overly created. I've also seen people who literally have half of the page is like a drawing or something like that. If you want to show your creativity, we would recommend you to link your portfolio with which actually reflects your creativity and your ability to do creative work based on the projects that you have done before. So that is a way better way to show your creativity than to put a bunch of designs and graphics on your CV.
and I think another thing that comes into play here is when you're talking about graphics and designs, scales. Scales on CVs, because you'd think, hey, I'm consolidating this data here, I'm making it like easy to read. It's actually not that easy, especially like, okay, I've got these 5 skills here. I have 3 stars in this one, 4 stars in this one star in this one. What does that really
Mm,
mean? And also proficiency. It's not a good way to measure proficiency, a scale, because a scale is only as accurate as you intend it to
yeah.
be, and that's like
I think
subjective.
I'm good at this, so I put 5 stars.
Yes, but to us it could be like 5 out of 10 stars.
Yeah.
You never know. Like, that's the problem with scales. But also another issue would be the ATS systems. That's a big
Mm,
concern. So a lot of people, I don't think, are like quite aware about exactly how easy it is to get rejected by an ATS system. Like, it could be even font at the back in the background, just kind of faded out, a watermark, and it could be the designs, the graphics, anything. Any one of those things could be enough to get rejected. So your CV did not even get a chance. So it's best to keep the graphical elements a little bit on the lower side, so you have a nice, clean, open CV.
for anyone who doesn't know, so an ATS system is an application tracking system, and most companies would use that as a way to help them process the first round of applications coming in. Because for bigger companies, like they would probably have over 1,000 applications coming every single day if they have an open position, because everyone wants to apply for it. And this system is designed to read the keyword on your CV and to match that with the job description that is being published. That is its job. So if your CV is too creative, it's harder for them to scan, or maybe they are not designed to scan that CV. That's why you probably would hear people recommending the type of format you should use to send your CV, either a Word document or a PDF. That's why they are saying keep it concise,
Absolutely.
keep it one page. We recently, Capital Basement, we are developing our own ATS system as well, and currently we are not tracking, we are not like pairing our job description with the CV, but we are trying to do that now so that it's easier for us to check the qualified candidates after the computer have done the first round of screening for us. And that's one thing you really have to keep in mind, is that CV is not a way to show your creativity or to help you be distinct from other people by design. It should be readable. It should also keep in mind that they might be passing through a ATS system, and it should be one page. It should be something that is only highlighting what's relevant to that job.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And the second most common visual element that we tend to see on CVs that may or may not be needed would be
Yeah,
our faces.
yeah.
So that leads us to the second mistake, which is having a photo on your CV. And I think this is a bit regional, isn't it, Angel? What's it like in the UK?
So in the UK, it's almost like an unspoken rule, or it's probably like, I think it's a law, but I remember it's an unspoken rule that you don't put your photo on your CV. And it's probably different in other places, but if you are applying to a UK company, or if you are based in the UK, applying for jobs, then please don't put a photo on your CV. There are many reasons why you shouldn't do that, and one of the biggest reason would be to avoid unconscious bias. And I guess that's probably why the UK introduced this kind of unspoken rules. So unconscious bias is the associations we hold outside of our conscious awareness or control. And it's a human being on this other side of your CV at the end of the day. You don't know what prior experience they have, and they probably don't even know why they think this person is a better fit for this role. Maybe they think that they could be a good colleague based on how they look, or based on their gender, or based on their race. So we want to eliminate that as much as possible. And these are the reasons that are not directly relevant to if you are qualified for the job or not. And that is the reason why you shouldn't put a photo on your CV. However, you can still use it as your advantage, because a professional photo can showcase, you can show a really strong and good first impression to the employer. And we would recommend you to link your LinkedIn link to make sure that it's easier for them to find. And once they check your LinkedIn, because they think, you hit all the right points and hitting all of the right marks, then they'll probably go to your LinkedIn to check more about your experience and the things that you have posted or stuff like that. That is where you can utilize your picture, but not at the beginning and put it on your CV.
There are, of course, some industries where you may be expected to have a picture, not exactly on your CV, but in like client facing roles where you're supposed to have a certain demeanor, a certain look about you. They might judge you based on that. And in those industries, you might need to like show them what you look like in order to actually get through.
If they put it on the application
Yeah,
requirement, I guess. But I understand that in other country and other region, having a photo on your CV is kind of like a
yeah,
standard practice. But I
yeah.
personally don't think it's a good thing. Like, they should get rid of it. Really, unconscious bias is a
I
big
know.
thing. Like, I'm not.
It is, it
Yeah, like, I
is.
think I've heard that in Korea, they will judge you based on how you look, and
I've heard that too. I've heard that too.
shouldn't
Yeah.
really be the case.
Like you have to actually put your photo on the applications in Korea. And like where I'm from, of course, like South Asia, it's just sort of like a do it or don't kind of thing. They don't demand you to add your photo. They don't say don't add your photo. It's just that it's a little more homogenous visually over here. I'm not gonna lie. So maybe that's why. But there is obviously other biases that could come out. But culturally, it's not. the foremost important thing for us. Add the photo, don't add the photo. I'm walking here. So I don't know where that came from, but anyway,
Right. But yeah, we hope
yeah,
that we hope this one is helpful to you. Obviously, please double check with wherever, like, wherever that you are based currently, and the country
yeah,
that you are applying to. But in the UK, it's definitely taking, don't put your photos in. We had a few incidents where the candidates, I think by accident, put a full page of their picture. So the first thing we see is a really large size of their profile picture. And we were just like, you know, do they know how to apply for jobs? Is this a mistake? Have they checked their application before they sent it in? Because it's really something that should be avoided, right?
yes.
So,
I know. This is the moment. This was in their CV. It's the first thing you see, and it's a full page image.
yeah. All right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So mistake number three we want to highlight
Yeah.
would be stating facts over showing impact. So before we get into it, how many of you, let's say, while you are writing like your work experience, how many of you are describing what you did? Complete spreadsheets, or conduct sales transactions, or serve 50 customers a day, or assisted who to do what project. Those are very descriptive of what you did, but to for the recruiter to understand what the actual impact is of your job, and of your past experience, it's best to let them know what is the impact of the activity that you've done. For example, if you because like most of our listeners are recent graduates, so you probably don't have that much work experience. But me personally, I worked in a restaurant before, right, as front of house. And what happened was I put on my CV that I helped with customer retention, because I have, return customers. So I help the restaurant with, retention rate. And that is showing
Yeah.
impact. That's showing that your work actually, help the restaurants. And that is that's an impact.
Yeah.
That is one way to show it.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. And what about like if they want to talk about, we're just talking about work experience, but there are folks who don't really have work experience. There are other ways to show your academic experience,
Yeah.
working on projects, group projects, and you can demonstrate your impact through that. Is there a way for them to sort of demonstrate their impact if it's a school project?
Really good question. I I think probably the best way to show is probably the score that you achieve afterwards, instead of saying I have done this project on what. So I've done a consultancy project on international expansion plan for this company to expand to, let's say, Australia. What you could say is that that company, like the score of this project, could be like, obviously the reason why you want to highlight it is because you probably got an A. You could say they got an A. The company is really happy about the work that we've done. They implemented it, and they have an increase in what, or XYZ. That could be the way, if you do know. But focus a lot more on your work experience if possible, because that is the most direct way for you to see the impact. Sometimes with school projects, you probably don't know. Um, yeah.
Yeah. And well, aside from projects, which is a lot more tangible, like if you have a grade, you can actually easily say, hey, I got this grade and this impacted all of us positively in this way. But what about soft skills? Soft skills, we always talk about soft skills and they're super,
Mm.
super important. But what about a soft skill like communication? How do we even like look for that kind of impact? How do we know, oh, this person is a good communicator? What's the metric there?
One thing that we really like to see on our interns CV is to see that they have some sort of like interest, or hobbies that they have. Because we believe, like, at least I think for me, the best way to show your soft skills is not by simply stating I'm good at communications, I'm a team player, I have leadership skills. Like, how do you know, like, you are creative? How do how do you know, and how can we know that you are? So that could be reflected by the stuff you
Yeah.
do, right? If you have
Yeah.
hobbies, like if you play sports, if you are in a team, if you play sports, you can put it in your hobbies, and that is, to us, it could showcase that you are a team player, that you have leadership skills. Probably if you are an artist, part-time, like for example a graphic designer, and you can say that you attend certain um, competition, that is also showing that you have creativity, that you know, looking to improve yourself, looking to grow in your skills all the time, you know, ways that you can reflect that you think out of the box, you know, stuff like that. It's a way to show that you have good soft skills. Another thing that is worth keeping in mind is your communication skills is getting assessed the moment you talk to the recruiter. So
Yes.
when you
The
send that
moment.
email, right? And if you need to do a video introduction of yourself.
Yeah.
Like if they do ask you to send a 30-second video or 1 minute video to talk on certain topic, because it's really popular nowadays to do this online. Record it.
Yeah.
You know, your verbal communication will be assessed via that video, and how you write your email, your tone, your professionalism, you know, how you respond to certain things, how you give, you know, tell them what you need and stuff like that. That will be
Yeah.
assessed directly, super, you know, super straightforward. Is that that is the way for
Yeah.
the hiring manager to know if you have good communication skills or not, not by seeing on your CV saying that you are a good communicator.
Yeah. Yeah. And people do, like, it's easier to list down expertise. You could call yourself an SEO expert, that's fine. But when you're trying to say I'm a good, like, communicator, I'm a good
Show that you
communicator, I
are.
have great time management skills,
Yeah,
you gotta show
show
it.
that you
You
are.
gotta show it.
And that's, you know,
Exactly.
another kind of like another point, is to just try not to make typos on your emails if you do send it to them, because they do assess you. Like if you feel like it's not, but they do, and they talk about you. Like we talk about you in the office if you know, made it to the first round, because not many people made it to the first round. You might have, you know, over 100 applicants, but maybe you we have about 3 people that made it to the end, and we've already started talking about these people already, and we remember the
Yeah.
mistakes that you've made. But that is a story for another day. If you do want to have another episode of us talking about job hunting mistakes you should avoid, we are more than happy. We are more than happy to do an
That is,
episode.
we have so many stories. We have so many things to talk
Yeah,
about. It would be
we can do
amazing.
another episode on that. But on the CV side, to show that you are a good communicator, you need to remember that the, you know, the moment you contact them, the moment you have that initiation of a communication, you are being assisted.
And that being a good communicator does not mean giving as much detail as possible in a compact medium, which brings us to the fourth mistake, which is trying to fit everything, especially irrelevant stuff, in your CV just to make it look full. We can see that you're trying, and we applaud the effort, but this is a small bit of a problem, because let me be honest, I did not realize, Angel, that when you're trying to fit the relevant stuff in your CV, that there is an order to things. I did not know there's an order, and I did not know why it's in this order. I didn't realize education needs to be here, work experience needs to be there, and we need to start it not in chronological order, but the other way around. We need to go with the most relevant and most recent experience. I don't know, why is that? Why do we do
There's
that?
a
Why do we ask them to do
there's
this?
a the thing is, like, there's a, because I made that mistake before, and I had like a 2 page CV, and
Yeah.
like I understand the reason why some of you might be doing this, and it's for a really good reason. When I was studying, right, like I've done so much work experience because I try to do as much as I possibly can, so that I'm like qualified for a job after I graduate. So I did so many things, like It does not even matter if it's like directly relevant to what I want to do after I graduate or not, because obviously at the time I didn't know. So I've done a bunch of
Yeah.
things and I put it on the CV. I want to show them that I have done so much. I don't want to show them that I'm good at like possibly anything. I just want to show them that I'm eager to let them
Yes.
know that they can
Yes.
hire me. So that is the reason
Yes.
why maybe some of you do this. And to be honest, really good job if you've done a bunch of internships, that you go to different societies in university, or even do your own freelancing job, whatever that you do. Really, really good job on that. That, we
Mhm.
have to cheer for you on doing that, because
Yeah.
the problem for you now is not that you don't have enough experience, it's how can you be selective and show the
Mm.
ones that are most relevant to that job. And like I said earlier, you probably don't know what, at the time that you were doing, your internships and other jobs and other volunteering work, you probably don't know what you ended up applying to after you graduate, because I didn't know that I would apply for social media role. I was studying marketing, so I was obviously learning a bunch of different things and I didn't know what I would be doing. So
Mm.
I understand. And then your problem, I guess, a problem, I wouldn't say problem. I guess what you need to focus on would be how to be selective and identify what is the
Mm.
most relevant to that role that you're applying for. Let me give you an example. And I can only use marketing
Yeah.
because I'm most familiar with this. If you're applying for a SEO or digital marketing, or a marketing role that is more related to um, numbers or more focused on your analytical skills, then maybe you can put down the project at school that you've done that is more relevant to either studying that or doing a project that's relevant to, relevant to digital marketing and research and analysis. Showcase that you have those skills. But if you are applying for roles that are more towards creativity jobs in
Yeah.
marketing, like social media is probably one of the most
Yeah.
relevant one, or even graphic design in marketing is also a skill. It's also a job that most company are hiring nowadays. A designer that understand the market and understand what the customer need on social media, different social media platforms, how to adapt your design to it, how to adapt your skills, sorry, not skills, how to adapt your videos to them. So that is when you want to showcase that you have either done projects that involves creativity, or you have freelance before that is about giving strategies to clients on their social media profile, like stuff like that. That's more relevant. That is also where you want to showcase that you have good communication skills, that you are a team player, because normally when it comes to creative projects, you do need to work with a team. You do need to show that you are, good at these kind of soft skills.
Yeah.
So if you have done like other work that is relevant to digital marketing, you don't have to put it in. Or if it's about other things, maybe showing that you care about social cause. Like if you're volunteering and those things are not relevant to social media at all, like you haven't helped them with a campaign, you haven't helped them with promotion, then you don't have to put it in. If it's about fundraising, maybe you don't need to put it
Mm.
in your work
Yeah.
experience, but you can put it in your volunteering, but not work experience.
Yeah.
Mm,
I understand. And I guess there's a bit of an issue with deciding what's relevant too, right? Because before I actually had any work experience, I applied to be a writer, and I'd written a bunch of like random articles for my university paper, and I just listed each one of the articles as separate
mm,
projects
mm,
on my
mm,
CV because I did not have much to
mm,
show that was relevant to it. Because I'm like, writer, I wrote these. That is all the experience I have. But looking back at it now, I've done so many different things that could still be considered relevant to that particular role.
mm,
Because I've done like event coverage, and, or like even though it was a
mm,
university based one, it was still pretty relevant to that
mm,
role. And I neglected to add a lot of information in there that could have otherwise been useful.
mm,
So how do we actually like make sure that what we're adding there is relevant, what is the indicator that we use
Mm,
to determine that?
that's a really good point, and I think the easiest and the simplest way would be to look at the job description. That job description is telling you everything that they're looking for in an ideal candidate. So if the
Yeah,
job description is saying that you need to be a fast learner, that you need to be adapted to a fast-paced, working environment, then maybe apply things to show that you are, and read that job description. There is I would say, a way to cheat through this as well, since we now have ChatGPT. So like what I would have done, okay, if I had ChatGPT like 3 years ago, what I would have done is I would list
yeah,
out every single work experience I've had, all the internships, all the work I've done, wherever, like, I've worked in sales, I've worked in restaurants, I've volunteered, I have freelanced, I've done like collaborative projects. I would list everything out, and I would tell
yeah,
ChatGPT that these are my experience, this is a job description, what is the most ideal experience I should put on my CV. Guys, it's a super big cheat code. But
it
utilize
is.
the technology. Why not? Like, we give out these kind of tips all the time on our Instagram. So if you do want to
Yeah,
know, follow our Instagram at Capital Placement. But ask ChatGPT to help you identify if you feel like you don't know. And once they help you identify those experiences are most relevant to that job based on their job description, is where you can take a look at it and
yeah,
you'll be like, is it? Is the AI right? And does it make sense to you? Are the keywords matching? And after you have selected the most relevant work experience, you can also ask ChatGPT to help you tweak your actual experience to make it matching to the job description. So
yeah,
if I want to say that I am good at design, okay, but the job description is saying that they want someone who's creative, who understand the market, who can have data driven decision making skills. Based on the
yeah,
design that you have made, you analyze the data and then you improve your design and then you relaunch it again. You want to show that you have that skill. Then you want to match the keywords,
yeah,
because technically, if you do, like, obviously don't lie, but if that is what you do and that is the keyword that they're looking for, then you need to rephrase
yeah,
your CV to make
yeah.
sure that some of the keyword matches.
Yeah. That's
Super big
really
cheat code.
helpful advice.
Super.
Yeah, things happen fast. You could like I fully do believe that people are fully capable of doing this on their own. It's just that if you want to get it done a little faster
Yeah, and to be honest,
and also
okay, yeah,
objectively.
and like, just to be honest, the reason why we want to do this episode is because we're like, at least for me, I have
Yeah,
made these mistakes, and I have been to like
me too.
career center in my university. I have tried contacting career coaches, and still I missed out on many things, and I made those mistakes. So you know, it's okay. Like, you don't
Yeah,
know this, it's completely fine, and now you do. The more you know.
yeah, yes, it's perfectly fine. Mistakes are mistakes. It's fine. It's just that folks need a little bit help navigating things because the system ain't getting that easy to circumvent.
Yeah.
So what would you say? Okay, I'm just going to ask you, what would you say, Angel, if you had an open role for it's an entry level job and you receive a 6-page CV?
I will not read it.
What if you have a half-page CV?
I will wonder if they are qualified for this role or not. So, guys, it's hard, okay? We understand it's hard. We previously
Yeah.
discussed that you don't want to have very, very long CVs. But on the other hand, we do know that for some of you who have, been studying and focusing on studying, and you probably also try to spend the holidays traveling, meeting with friends, or all that kind of stuff, and now you're looking for a job, and the companies are looking for 3+ years working experience, unreasonable as recent entry for a recent entry position, uh, for an entry level position, very unreasonable. but still they're looking for
Mm,
those years. And you're like, how do I get to at least a page of a CV, right? How do I get there?
exactly.
Kaylus, would you like to give us your suggestion?
Yes. And here's the thing, right? Remember when I told you I did not have enough experience, work experience when I was applying, and I just listed each one of my articles? Don't do that.
Don't do that.
That's my advice. Don't do that. Instead, later on, I actually did do a lot of volunteer work. So while I was in school and out of school, I did a bunch of volunteering. I also I assisted a bunch of different government institutions with projects, and they were not paid opportunities. They could not even be considered internships, really. But they held enough weight for me to add them under, like volunteer work or, projects that I've done. Because I did learn things from them and I did actually, learn to work. Because learning to
Oh
work is
yeah,
a process on its
yeah,
own.
definitely.
And there is like, do not shun the idea of volunteer work, honestly.
Yeah, I completely
It
agree.
is super
Yeah, I
helpful.
agree. And
Yeah.
a lot of organizations and companies are looking for volunteers, and they're looking for someone who has the passion and the drive to learn. So if you are in university and you are looking to get work experience really quickly, volunteering is a really good way. But if you are thinking about building something that is almost directly related to the job that you want to apply for, because you have an idea of what you want to apply for already, and you're like, okay, now I know the requirement and I need to build my skills to match with that requirement of the role that I want to apply for. I have a tip for you, and you probably haven't heard it anywhere else. So thank you for staying to the very end. All right. So we all know that you can do freelancing, because freelancing is a lot more accessible nowadays to almost everybody. You can
Yeah.
set up an account on Upwork. You can ask your friend if they need any help, and you can help them with their project. That is experience. But one thing that I did is I reached out to alumni in my university. Some of them graduated a year ago. Some of them are still like studying and they're working on a startup project. So what happened to me
Oh,
was I reached out to someone who was doing a startup project, and we're alumni, so they trust me naturally. They were like, "Oh my god, like you study there. Okay, let's work
yeah.
together." And I was like, yeah, I work for free. I don't have enough, like I don't have like a lot of experience, but they also need someone
Yeah.
to get them started. And in
Yeah.
most cases, they have no experience or subject knowledge in that area at all. So I was helping with a startup company for digital marketing, and I did that for like 8 months, every single week. So we have like weekly meetings, and I helped them for 8 months. And that really, like, I put it on my CV. And yes, I was unemployed for more than 8 months. That was COVID. And that is how you have to be, you have to find, you eventually will find something, you find your way out of any situation if you believe in yourself. But I'm just like suggesting that if you are studying, or if you are just graduated and you're like, I need to find something that's super relevant, that is actually helping with my work experience, reach out to your alumni. They might be graduated a year or
Mm,
2 years ago. They might be doing a startup project, and if you reach out to them and let them know that you're interested in helping them, and you like what they're working on, you like their ideas, you can contribute to it. You never know like where this would go. You might become one of the
yeah.
founders. You might, they might get like a lot of investments, and you ended up becoming one of the
Yep.
person who helped them build a team of 50, because that could happen. And everyone
It
learn.
could. It
Yeah,
could.
everyone learn.
Yep.
And if not, you get that work experience, you can put it on your CV, and you will be doing a lot, because you have to learn a bunch of things by yourself. I ended up getting a Google analytics certificate, because I want to understand more about that. And it just give you that drive to learn more, um and to like self-taught, which is one of the best way to learn.
Yeah. and it's cheaper.
Yeah, and but they don't pay you. So
Just a
obviously,
tad.
if you have to live with your parents, that's a compromise you have to make. But
Yep.
do everything you can to get your first job.
Yep.
That is what I would say. Anything you can. Mm,
I don't know if this is truly helpful advice, but I do know one person who did get a job, just like did everything to get that job. Like she looked at the company, there was an open, there was an open role, there was an opening, and she said, I don't have enough experience. But you know what? Takes the company, takes the branding, flips it, designs a new logo, and sends it in with an email and the CV. And
that is
then the company
super.
did get back to
That
her.
is
It was
super
like, we are not
impressive.
going to hire you as a graphic designer, but we are happy to train you.
That is probably the best way, the one of the best example to show what it means by hire for attitude and
Mm,
train for role or something like that. We had one of our previous
yeah,
guest Eric on our podcast actually told us about this, and we couldn't agree
yeah,
more because it's about your attitude and your approach to work instead of what skills exactly like hard skills you have, because it does come with time. And and the
yeah,
company do have to train you either way. Like for onboarding, they need to tell you how to use certain software and how different things work in their company, so you have to learn, and they're more than happy to train you, but you need to have the attitude of
yeah,
like you're willing to learn. Wow, good job, well
yeah.
done, good on her. Mm,
Good for her. Good. Like, honestly,
yeah.
yeah. So really, it's all about what you are willing to do,
Mm,
honestly, in order to get that
mm,
job. Because, and here's the thing, you might have a tiny little CV without much going on, but you've already kind of proven what you can
yeah,
do with what you
yeah,
have.
yeah, yeah.
And they can see potential, like we can see
Mm,
potential when we receive stuff like that as
yeah, yeah.
well. So it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
It
I
shows
agree.
initiative and
I agree
everything.
with you. I agree with you. All right, everyone. I guess
Yeah.
that's the end of this episode. We really hope you enjoyed us talking about the mistakes that we've made in the past and some of the things that you could avoid going into 2024 when you're applying for jobs. And if you do make any mistakes that we have mentioned earlier, just know that that is completely normal, and this is probably a sign for you to go back and check them. And we do wish you all the best with your
Yes.
job hunting journey, and we want more than anyone for you to get a job immediately, because it's literally what we do at Capital Placement. We help people get internships, international internships, I'd say.
Yeah.
But yes, and if you like our show, please subscribe and follow our Instagram at Capital Placement. I say this so many times, but still like. But thank you so much for listening. And by the way, if you want to have another episode on us talking about the job hunting mistakes that you can avoid, let us know on Spotify, because you can write
Or any other career
any other career
mistakes as
mistakes.
well, because we have
So much more to
so
share.
much,
Yeah.
so much,
All right.
honestly.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.